Roosevelt Hands here again, Publishing Director at East Caribbean Conference. Bringing another video to you on steps to becoming a successful literature evangelist. One of the key parts of being a literature evangelist is reporting on your work that you would have done, on the work that you would have done. And it's not only important to you, but it's also important to myself as the publishing director to understand the work that you're doing, and from your reports be able to glean how I can assist you to become better at what you're doing, whether it may be in terms of your sales, whether it may be in terms of managing your time, whether it may be in terms of providing more materials for you. And that is why submitting a report is very, very important. It's also very important in that I'm also expected as publishing director of the conference to submit a report to the union as to the activity or the work done in the conference. And the publishing director for the union, Sister Judith Smith, she's also expected to submit a report to the Inter-American Division as to how the work is going inside the Caribbean Union. And so understand that your report, when it is submitted, does not only impact my report, but it also impacts her report as well. And also impacts the level of planning that will be done at all of the areas, whether it may be at the Inter-American Division level, whether it may be at the union level, or whether it may be at the conference level, so that we can do all we can to make the literature evangelist ministry a successful ministry. And so today we're going to look at your report. Now, first thing you must note is that your report is due by the 7th day of the month. It was previously the 9th day, but we are saying the 7th day because the union now has to send their report off by the 13th of the month. And so we want to make sure that we're able to get the report in and be able to put all of the information together and make sure that it reaches the union before the 13th of the month so that they can pull their report together and send it to the division in time for their deadline as well. So for getting your report in on time is really critical in terms of making sure that we get our report out on time. I just want you to know, I want you to understand that the East Caribbean Conference has been given recognition for submitting timely reports and submitting reports for all of their literature evangelists. So we want to make sure that we continue, we keep that trend. And so it's very, very important that you are able to submit your report on time by the 7th day of the month. And what you can do is every day that you work, when you come back home, as you sit down, take about 10-15 minutes to just complete that day. What it saves you doing is when it gets to the end of the month, instead of you trying to remember how many prayers you did, how many literature you sent out, how many homes you visited, you have it all recorded there. So please, please, just do it every day. Just take some time to just do it every day. And so by the end of the month, your report is almost completed. You just have to add your numbers up and submit it to me. Now, there are 2 formats that you can submit your report by, well, actually 3 formats. There's the printed report, which is the physical report itself. You can complete that. And what I do now is you don't have to bring it to the office all the time, every month. What you can just take a picture of it and send it to me via WhatsApp. That's all you need to do. Take a picture of it and send it to me via WhatsApp. Take a nice quality picture of it and send it to me via WhatsApp. And I'll be able to utilize that in finalizing my report. The second method, or the third method, the next method is there's a digital report, which means that there's a report that you can fill out on your computer, on your tablet. It is done in Excel format, and the way how the report is prepared, all you have to do is enter your numbers. The formulas are already there to add up for you. All you have to do is enter your numbers and email it to me. Email the report to me. Once you have submitted all your information, you email your report to me. So let's get looking at the report and seeing how you should fill out your report. All right, so this is your report. This is a blank report, and I'm going to try to fill it out as we go through. Obviously, your name goes in this section. If you're doing the digital report, I would have already placed your name here for every month, so you don't have to do anything. The digital report as well, let me just show you. Okay, let me just see, it's not coming up. All right, and now the digital report, it is done by month as well. It is done by month as well. And so you have an entire worksheet, entire workbook. And you have each month, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, then a total for the year. And then there's a comparison sheet to see how you compare in terms of your retain certain goals and certain objectives. All right, so basically so that's the digital report. With the physical report, you have to fill out a different form every month, take that picture of it or submit it to the conference, whichever is easier for you. But it's always easier to take the picture, send it to me by WhatsApp. You can always bring all of them to the conference at one time, probably at the end of the year. But once I have it, I usually do my report online so that I just put that information in and submit it to the union. So let's talk about the report. Basically, the report, you have your name, you have your conference, which is ESCARB, and then the month that you're completing the report for. All right, and the month, there's a little formula there. You can say, okay, we want to complete for August. You change that to August and the year 21. Or if you have the physical report, you can write it in August 2021. All right, so that's basic information. Once you have your name and you have the month that you're reporting for. All right, now the report is done by weeks, right? It's done by weeks, and 4 to 5 weeks per report. All right, so now the report covers certain areas. It covers the day that you work, the date of that day, the number of hours you work for in that day, the number of magazines or books that you've delivered, the total value of the orders you receive for the day, the amount of sales or the amount of deliveries that you made for the day, the amount of free literature that you distribute, the amount of prayers that you do, the amount of homes that you visited, the amount of persons that you would have enrolled in Bible studies, and the amount of persons that would have been baptized because of the work that you would have done. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to take the person right through the process, but you may have started talking to the person, you may have introduced them to do Bible study. You would have some connection with the person at least, and they were baptized. You can place them on that sheet when you know that they have been baptized. And this section here is value of purchases. That is for my own purpose. That is the information that I will get from IAPA. But if you have, let's say you purchase some books a day, you want to put that down, that is no problem. All right, so let's look now and see how the report is actually done. The day is already there for you. That doesn't change. The date, you will probably have to change the date depending on if you have the physical copy or if you have the digital copy. The digital copy, you just put in the date. 1, 2, 3, depending on when the month begins. If the month began on a Sunday, you'll put the first as a Sunday, so forth. Now, the number of hours that you work, your hours for work is counted. Your hours for work, they're counted from the time you leave home. That is if you're going directly into the field or into the community. For the time you leave home to the time you leave your last contact, or the time that you leave your last house that you would have visited. All right, so from the time you leave home until your last contact. So if you left home at 9 o'clock and you left your last contact at 4 o'clock, then that will be 7 hours of working, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 hours, 7 hours of working. And so you will put 7 hours there. Now, if you what we do is that we don't put in 15 minutes. I work for 5 hours, 15 minutes, or 5 hours, 25 minutes, or 5 hours, 35 minutes. No. If it's 29 minutes or less, you put it to the previous hour. So if it's 7 hours and 29 minutes, you put it as 7 hours. If it's 7 hours and 10 minutes, you put it as 7 hours. If it's 7 hours and 30 minutes, 7.5 hours, you put it as 8 hours. If it's 7 hours and 35 minutes, you put it as 8 hours. So anything 30 or over, you put to the next hour. Anything 30 or less, 29 or less, you put to the previous hour. I hope that that's pretty clear. So let's say I work 7 hours, I work 7 hours. If I had worked 7 hours and 45 minutes, I would have put 8 hours there. If I had worked 7 hours and 15 minutes, I would have kept it at 7 hours. All right. And so you fill in your hours. Make sure that you take note of the hours that you would have visited, that you would have been in the community. I remember from the time you leave home and you're going straight into the community. So if you have to, and that's why it's important that that's why we put you in territories, so that you can get into your territory within 15, 20 minutes, that you will not have to spend a long time waiting for a bus or taking a bus to town and then taking a bus to another area. We want to be able to make sure that you're able to get into your territory in a very quick fashion. Yeah, as I say, so that you can get into your territory in a quick fashion and you will not be spent. So that's why from the time you leave home until the time of your last your visit, you leave your last contact. Now this part is a pretty tricky part, so you have to listen very carefully to this one. This is the number of books or magazines sold. This is not the amount that were ordered, but the amount that were actually delivered. All right. So this section, you only put a number in this section if you have delivered a book, if you have delivered a magazine. And when we talk about delivering a magazine, we're not talking about the priority magazines. We have subscription magazines on recipes, diabetes. We have drugs, those type of things. Those small magazines, they cost about what, $6? $6 in Barbados, $8 in Dominica. But when you have actually delivered a book or a magazine, that is when you will note it here in this section, right? That's when you will note it in this section. All right. So if on a day you deliver 3 books, you will put 3. So even though the person orders the book, you do not utilize this section here until the book has been delivered, until the book has been delivered. And so if you deliver 3 books, you put the 3 there. If you deliver 4 books, you put the 4. If you deliver 1 book, you put the 1. If you deliver a set of 3 books, you put 3 books. Yeah, because it's still 3 books that you have delivered, not one book. You have delivered 3 books. If you deliver 3 books on a magazine, you don't have to put 3 books on a magazine. You just put 4. All right. So you just put the total amount of books and magazines that you would have delivered. This section here, total value of orders, you put in this section, as the name implies, the total value of the orders you receive for that day. The total value of the orders you have received for that day. Whether you delivered them or whether you haven't delivered them, the total value of the orders. And you put the value of your order at the cost of the book to the customer. That's the value of your order at the cost of the book to the customer. Not how much you're buying it far from the Adventist Book Center, but the cost to the customer. So I went out today and I got 3 orders, 3 books, and the total cost, the value of those books to the customer was $350. I put $350 there. That's the value of my orders, right? Now, let me just put back this as 0 because I didn't make any deliveries as yet. I got $350 in orders. Now, if I delivered or when those books were ordered, those $350, I had one of the books and I give it to the customer at the same time, I put in this section now the amount of the value of the sales of the books delivered. So let's say one of those books costs $100 to the customer. I put $100 here and I put 1 book here. All right. So this is $350 I got in total in orders, but I already delivered $100 and a book value at $100. and I put it here. So I only put numbers in this column when I have numbers in this column. So I only put numbers in book sold when I have money, when I have numbers in this delivery sales. All right. So in this particular scenario, a customer ordered a book for $100. I delivered the book the same thing because I had a new book on me. The customer wanted to pay cash. And so the person paid the cash. I still record it as an order because it was an order that I received. And I still record it as a delivery because I delivered the order. Now, why do I do that? Why do I do that? Because when I know how much you have ordered, how much orders you have received, and how much you have delivered, I'm able to see your delivery to order ratio. And based on your delivery to order ratio, I will be able to identify if you are actually fulfilling all of your orders. And if you have not, you're not actually fulfilling all of your orders, then I have to find out why you're not actually fulfilling all of your orders. And it may be that the bookstore doesn't have the book. It may be that you forgot to deliver the book. But obviously, please don't let it be that. We want to make sure that once a customer, remember we talked about delivery, once a customer orders a book, you must deliver that book. You must deliver that book. You must deliver that book. So that's why even though you deliver the book the same time to the person, I want you to put that order in the orders form, in the order section, so that when I see your report at the end of the month, I can look at what your orders are and what your deliveries are, and I'll be able to say, okay, I find that you are getting a lot of orders, but you're not doing too much deliveries. And I will talk to you about it because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to look and see these things and talk to you about it. And it may be part of your whole selling process, closing process that you may be having a challenge with. Or it may be that your customer didn't want the book in the first place. There's so many other reasons. Or the bookshop didn't have the book, and if the bookshop did not have the book, and the bookshop did not have the book for a little while, I, as publishing director, it's my responsibility to find out when the bookshop will get the book, or if the book is finished, or if there's a replacement book, whatever the case. That's my responsibility. And so that's why I need that information there so that I can see these trends and I can be able to help you to move those numbers, to bring those numbers back in line with each other. So therefore, you have your total value of orders at $350 and your amount of deliveries of $100. Now let's say, so therefore now, all right, so for this column, as I said, total value of orders, you put your value of your orders based on the cost of the book to the customer. Now, when you're filling out this section, amount of delivery sales, let's say this customer say to me, okay, I'm going to pay you $50. I'm going to deposit $50 on the book. I remember when we talked about closing the sale, we can say to a customer, okay, you can have it in 2 payments. You deposit half because that's the cost that you're going to pay to the book center anyway. You deposit half, and then you can pay the half at another date as decided by us. And so if the customer only paid $50, it doesn't matter. I record the book at the value of the book to the customer, not based on how much money the customer pays. So if the customer pays $75, if the customer pays $90, if the customer pays $20, which we hope that doesn't happen, I still record it at the $100. All right, I still record it at the $100. So the amount of value of your orders is given at the value to the customer, and the amount of delivery sales is given at the value to the customer as well. Now let's add another dimension to this one. I got my $350 in orders, but then there was a customer that I got in a previous order that I delivered the book to him today. And let's say that book cost me let's say that book to that customer costs $150. So that means my total deliveries for the day would be $250. And I would have delivered how many books? 2 books. All right. I hope that that's pretty clear. Let me just go through that again. I would have already delivered 1 book on a sale that I got, a cash sale that I got. But then I have another book that I have to deliver to another customer. When I deliver that book, remember, you're only putting information in these sections, number of books on magazine stores, amount of delivery sales, when you actually deliver the book. Not when you receive money from the customer, when you actually deliver the book. So a customer may give you a deposit of $50, but until you deliver that book, that sale is not finalized until you deliver that book. And so a customer ordered a book last week. I'm delivering it to him today. The cost of that book is $150. The cost of that book is $150. So now my delivery sales goes to $250. And the number of books that I deliver goes down from 1 to 2. All right. Now I can, as I go through, as I continue going from house to house, my orders can increase. Also my delivery sales if I deliver the book to the customer the same time. All right. If there are any questions on that, you can always message me. So this section, number of books or magazines sold, is when you actually deliver a book or magazine, and it is the total books and magazines, number of books and magazines that you delivered. This section, total value of orders, is the number of orders that you receive, the value of the order to the customer that you receive for the day. And this way is how much books you deliver, whether it's a book from a cash sale done on the same day or a previous order that the customer would have sent in. Now, what happens is that at the end of the month, or at what in my total column, because there will be a total column, I can see for the year or for the last 3 months how many orders you received, how many books you delivered, and I'm able to gauge and look at that and say to you, okay, something is wrong here because you have a lot of orders that you did not deliver. And my responsibility is to track these things. That's what I'm here to do, to track this information and be able to see what challenges you're having and see how we can help you with those challenges. It may be that you don't have the money to buy the books. Yes, you got the order, but you don't have the money to buy the books. To come to me, we'll find a way to get around that so that you are able to get the book to the customer. Because why? It is important because you are ministering through that book. You are ministering to the needs of that customer through that book. All right, so we have done the sales section of the report, and you do that for every day. So if on Tuesday I go out and let's say on Tuesday I work 8 hours, and out of this order here on Sunday, I delivered that order on Tuesday. Remember, I delivered 100 on Sunday, and now I'm delivering the other 250 on Tuesday, and that 250 is 3 books. Right? So now I've completed, I've filled up this order, the $100 and the 250. But I also received another order for $500. Well, several orders to come up to $500. Out of those $500, I also delivered a book that cost $50. So that's 300. And obviously this would increase my books to 4 books. But I still have another order. I still have another $450 outstanding. But I'm always remembering that I fill this section out when I actually put the book in the customer hand. When I actually put the book in the customer hand. Now, if you know a customer good and you're a person who goes to a customer, just give the customer the book and you can get the money from them anytime because you have a relationship. Even if you did not receive money, please count that as a delivery sale and note that down. Because as long as you deliver that book to that customer, that creates the sale and that finalizes the sale basically. All right. And so as you can see in the digital format, the numbers are adding each other up, and it adds each other up right through the month. All right. If you were doing it on the physical page, you would make sure that you add up your total at the end of the month. At the end of the week, at the end of every week, and you'll be able to make sure you add up correctly so that the numbers will be right. Even though what I'll do is that I'm going to create a digital form for everybody. Each person will have a digital form, and I will transfer your information that you sent to me to the digital form. So the digital form will always correct any additional errors that you may have. All right, so now let's go to missionary activities. Remember, the missionary activities come after you have closed the sale. And the first aspect of missionary activities is that you give out free literature. Magazines, small books, tracts, leaflets, you give out free literature. And so you place in this column how much free literature you give out for the day. Now, the easy way to do this is leave home with X amount of literature. Don't leave home with just a handful. Count the amount of literature that you left home with. So you say, okay, I left home today with 20 magazines. And when you go back home, You can always say, okay, you only have 4 magazines now, which means I give out 16 magazines. And you will know then that for today, you give out 16 magazines. All right, that's an easy way to do it. It also helps you to reach a goal. You may say you want to give out 20 magazines a day, 20 pieces of literature a day. So therefore, if you have still in your possession, it means that you will keep on going until you have completed that. So these are the type of things that drive your ministry, that keeps you going because you want to meet certain objectives. So therefore, how much free literature you give out? 16 pieces. How many prayers that you did? Obviously, remember you talk about praying. So you pray with the customer. And so therefore you prayed 10 prayers. How many homes you visited? How many homes you visited? Now, the homes visited will be the number of homes that you will actually stop and you had a conversation with the person. If you go knock on the house and there's no answer, then you can't count that as a visit. All right? What is visited is your connection to the person. So even if you open and you send the person talk to you and you say the person said, well, I'm a little busy this morning, and you say, okay, that's okay. You can remember, you can always leave a free literature with them, and you can always leave a prayer with them. So even if they're busy, say, okay, I understand you're busy. Can I leave this magazine here with you? I'm going to leave this magazine here with you, and you give the magazine. And so that now becomes another magazine that you give out, and that becomes a home that you have visited. All right. So let's say you visited 16 homes. Now there are going to be some homes that you may have people in the homes, or you may visit a house and there may be 3 persons in that house, but 2 persons don't live in that house, and you give each of them a magazine. That's okay. There's still 16 houses, right? It's still 16 homes. So therefore, you have your home visited, 16 homes. Now, why is this information? Why is this information critical for us? It helps us to know the impact that you're making on the community. The impact that you're making on the community. And obviously, we look at the number of hours you work and the number of homes you visited. And that gives us an understanding if you're spending too long. So if you work 7 hours and you only visited 3 homes in that 7 hours, it means that you would have spent 2 hours at least in 2 of those homes, or in all 3 of those homes. Let's make it a little easier, 4 homes. Yeah, so we know, okay, 7 hours is 14 half hours. So we know at least 14 homes you will visit, at least. You can visit more because there may be a person that you just spend a couple of minutes with. But we know at least 14 homes, but therefore we put 16. So if you visit 16 homes, that is okay. So your free prayers, your homes, and your prayers, your literature, and your homes. Contacts for Bible studies is if you engage a person, enroll them in a Bible study, give them a lesson to do, whatever the case may be, and you put 1, 2, 3, however many persons you would have contacted. Now, each time you do a Bible study, let's say you talk to a customer said you come back to do a Bible study. Each time you do a Bible study, you only do this for persons you enroll in Bible studies. You enroll in Bible studies. So, and that's why it's important. That's why we say to literature evangelists, try not to get bogged down doing Bible studies, because that's what the job of the Bible worker is to do. The job of the Bible worker is to do the Bible studies. Your job is to enroll the person in a Bible study, either through giving them lessons or putting them onto one of the Bible workers, or putting them onto the church that you're associated with, and they're sending someone to do the Bible study. Your job is to get into the houses, minister to the needs, get them enrolled in the Bible study plan, and then you're able to leave them to the church now. And so what happens now is not just you now that you're not the only person working with that customer. There's somebody else now coming in, 2 Adventists now working with that customer. All right. Number of contacts baptized, as I said before, is based on how you have been communicating. If it's a customer that you went to, you sold a book, that you give a magazine, and you see that person come into church, you go to church, and say, why is the person say, well, yeah, I read that book that you give me, and now it caused me to Adventist. You put that person, you come the next month and you drop that person name there and say, okay, that's one person that baptized. All right. Now let's have some understanding, because when you go out, we do it the biblical method basis. You go in teams, in pairs. You go in pairs. So how do you deal with your hours? Your hours remain the same. Your hours remain the same. You don't split your hours in half. You've worked 7 hours, your teammate has worked 7 hours, so they will fill out 7 hours. The books delivered and sold, that's decided between you and your teammate how you're going to attribute those books. Right? So if one book is delivered to a house, your teammate can't put one book and you put one book, because then that'd be 2 books and that would be skewing the information. So you will have to decide who is responsible or who will record this book. And you sit down and you decide how you're going to work as a team in terms of how you're going to manage the orders, manage the deliveries, manage the funds received, and manage how everything is going to be recorded in terms of books and orders and deliveries. All right. So if you put a delivery on your book, that means that you're the one who's responsible for the delivery. All right. So what most teams do is that they alternate every other house. So they come to the first house, one person goes forward, they do the most of the talking. The other person will be there as support. They'll be praying for the contact, praying for this situation, and that the partner is able to say the right things. That's what they'll be doing, and they will be helping that person, helping that partner. And then the next house, the partner who was praying before now becomes the partner who goes up front, and the partner who went up front just now becomes the partner who prays. And you can alternate that. Each time you're the person who's up front, you count that as your house. So you don't count every house that you went to. You count the house that you would have canvassed, the house that you would have been at the forefront, right? Why do we do that? Because once again, you're working in tools and we don't want to skew the information. If a street only has 10 houses and you and your partner write 10 houses, that means it's 20 houses that were visited. And that would be incorrect information. Only 10 houses were visited. So you write on your report the house that you canvassed, that you were the one up front. And so we want to encourage you that as partners, you help each other become canvassers, and one person doesn't do all of the talking and leave the other person know. Every person must have an opportunity to talk, because every person must have an opportunity to put a number down here for homes visited, right? Every person must have an opportunity. In terms of literature, same thing. You have your literature, you give the literature. If your partner gives a piece of literature too, that's 2 parts, one for you and one for your partner. But if you give a literature, your partner can't count it as their literature. It can only be counted as one piece of literature. The prayers, once again, as well, the same thing. Once that person, the person who prays is the person who will record it. The person who prays is the person who will record. So you work it out, you sit down with your partner, and that's the first thing you do before you go. You decide how you're going to do your reporting. You're going to decide how you're going to do your strategy at going to the house. So that is your report. As I said, you complete your report for every day of the month, and you get the totals and you submit it to my office. You submit it to my office. You can take a picture of the physical report, send it to me by WhatsApp. You can get the digital report, send it to me by email, or you can hand deliver the physical report to the office. With this COVID pandemic, I'm not working in the office much. I'm working from home most of the time. Right now, I'm holding this video. I'm working from home most of the times. And so we want to encourage you, take that picture, send it to me. I'm going to get it on my phone. And once I get it on my phone, I'll be able to put the information in. Remember, you have to get it in by the 7th of the month, the 7th day of the month. So thank you very much for watching this video. If there are any questions, you can always email me at publishingministry@eastcarib.org, or you can WhatsApp me. You have my WhatsApp contact information. You can WhatsApp me. You can put the question in the group chat, and I'll respond as quickly as possible, because it's important that you understand this process, and it's important that you follow through on this process. Whether you're part-time or whether you're full-time, it is important that you are able to submit your reports. So thank you. God bless as you continue in your ministry. Father, we understand the importance of feedback, the importance of assessing and analyzing the work that we would have done. You yourself would have done it at the creation. You said at the end of every day it was good, and at the end of the Sabbath you said it was very good. And so this reporting is able to give us the feedback on the work of the literature evangelists. So we ask, Lord, that we thank you for what you will do through literature evangelists in their ministry. And we thank you for how we can use these reports to help them become better ministers for you. Continue to bless them, continue to bless their ministry. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.